When's the last time you saw a player turn to a packed arena and scream at the top of his lungs, no filter, pure emotion, calling the defending NBA champions frauds? Not on social media, not in the locker room, right there in front of 18 Zero or Blazers fans while his team's still dominating the game. That's exactly what Keldon Johnson did Tuesday night at the Frostbank Center. And it wasn't just trash talk. The Spurs had just finished demolishing the Oklahoma City Thunder 130-110, handing them their worst loss of the season, the first time they've trailed by 20-plus all year. But something about this win felt different. The energy, the confidence, the straight-up disrespect. Because when Keldon exploded with that raw, unscripted fucking frauds, a battle cry with minutes still on the clock, he wasn't just celebrating a win. He was making a statement the entire NBA heard loud and clear. Let's break down what really happened in San Antonio. What's up, Spurs fans? Welcome back to Spurs Quick News. Quick, sharp, and all about the silver and black. I'm your host, and today we're diving deep into the most electric atmosphere the Frostbank Center has seen this season. Before we jump in, drop your city in the comments so we know where the Spurs family's tuning in from. I want to see how far this energy is spreading across the globe. Let's set the scene. Coming into Tuesday night, the Thunder were 26-3, the defending NBA champions. The team that started the season 24-1 and had people talking about challenging the Warriors' 73-9 record. Their previous 3 losses this season, all decided by 5 points or less, 2 and 5 points respectively. San Antonio, meanwhile, was riding a 6-game winning streak, sitting at 21-7, and feeling themselves after knocking the same Thunder out of the NBA Cup semifinals just 10 days earlier with a nail-biting 111-109 victory in Las Vegas. But here's what makes Tuesday night different. This wasn't a 2-point squeaker. This wasn't a last-second thriller. This was a 20-point demolition that got so out of hand, Oklahoma City never even threatened to make it interesting in the fourth quarter. The final score, Spurs 130, Thunder 110. The Spurs shot 57% from the field. They dominated the paint, 60-48. They outscored OKC 19-5 on the fast break. They turned 15 Thunder turnovers into 20 points. And they forced Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who dropped 33 points, to do it almost entirely alone, with only 5 total free throw attempts for the entire Thunder team compared to 24 for San Antonio. This wasn't just a win. It was a beatdown. And the Frostbank Center crowd knew it. Do you think the Spurs' physicality and home court energy is becoming a genuine weapon? Or did the Thunder just have an off night? Comment, built different, or lucky night below. Now here's where it gets wild. Keldon Johnson came off the bench, yes, off the bench, and put up 25 points on 10 of 16 shooting, including 5 of 9 from three-point range, all in just 22 minutes. That's elite efficiency. That's instant offense. That's a veteran who's completely reinvented himself as the ultimate sixth-man weapon. Here's what makes Keldon's evolution so special. He's the Spurs' longest tenured player. He's been here since 2019. He could easily demand a start. He could complain about his role. Instead, he's become the heartbeat of this team's second unit and the emotional leader everyone feeds off of. But the numbers only tell half the story. With a few minutes left in the game and the Spurs cruising to victory, Keldon's emotions boiled over in the most authentic way possible. He turned to the Frostbank Center crowd and erupted. Loud, raw, and completely unfiltered. "Let's go, baby! Frauds! Frauds! Effing frauds!" And the crowd, they absolutely exploded. The arena shook with energy as thousands of fans fed off Keldon's passion, turning the moment into a thunderous celebration. It was the kind of raw, unscripted emotion you rarely see in today's corporate, media-trained NBA. This wasn't choreographed. This wasn't calculated. This was pure, authentic championship swagger. But here's the part nobody's talking about. Keldon didn't do this just to be disrespectful. This was about identity. This was about a young Spurs team refusing to be intimidated by the defending champion's reputation. This was about making a statement that San Antonio is back. And they're not asking for anyone's permission. See, after the game, when reporters asked him about that moment, Keldon immediately shifted gears. He said, "I feel like we still have so much to prove. I feel we haven't done anything to be cocky and arrogant. Ultimately, we're preparing for our goal of being in the playoffs." Read that again. The man who just screamed frauds at the defending champions is saying his team hasn't done anything yet. That's championship DNA. That's Pop's culture bleeding through. That's a player who understands the difference between celebrating a moment and losing sight of the mission. This is what separates good teams from great teams. The ability to embrace emotion while staying hungry for more. And wait until you hear about the post-game celebration. Victor Wembanyama introduced a new tradition after the win, something straight out of European soccer culture. He grabbed a drum and led what's called a thunderclap, with a passionate supporter section he's now calling the Jackals. The irony? They just used the Thunder's own European chant tradition against them after handing OKC their worst loss of the season. This is Wemby bringing his international basketball culture to San Antonio, and the fans are absolutely loving it. If you were in that arena Tuesday night, would you have joined Keldon's celebration? Type all in or too much in the comments. I want to know where Spurs Nation stands on this. And if you're vibing with this breakdown so far, hit that like button. It genuinely helps this channel grow and lets me keep bringing you the realest Spurs content on YouTube. Let's zoom out for a second and talk about what this win actually means for San Antonio's trajectory. This is now the Spurs' 7th straight victory, their longest winning streak since December 2015, back when Kawhi Leonard was leading this team. They're 22-7, sitting second in the Western Conference, and they've won 14 of their last 17 games. This isn't a fluke anymore. This is legitimate contention. But here's what makes this run so impressive. They're doing it with managed minutes and smart rotations. San Antonio's front office learned from last season's injury issues and is being incredibly strategic about player health. The trio of Keldon Johnson, Stephon Castle, and Harrison Barnes combined for 69 points. Castle, last year's Rookie of the Year and now a sophomore sensation, dropped 24 points, continuing his evolution into one of the most complete two-way guards in the league. This is a player who won Roy last season and hasn't slowed down. He's shooting with more confidence, defending at an elite level, and most importantly, he's becoming a legitimate closer. Harrison Barnes added 20 points with his signature veteran poise. At 32 years old, the former NBA champion has become the exact steadying influence this young core needed. His leadership goes beyond the stat sheet. He's the guy pulling aside Castle and Harper after mistakes, the one Keldon leans on for advice about evolving roles, and the player Wemby watches to learn how to be a professional. Barnes shot a career-high three-point percentage last season, 42.6%, and he's maintaining that elite spacing this year. And here's where it gets really interesting. Dylan Harper, the second overall pick in the 2025 draft, only scored 4 points, but completely changed the game with career highs in steals 5 and assists 10. This is the beauty of Harper's game. He impacts winning without needing the ball in his hands. His defensive instincts are off the charts, and his court vision is creating open looks for everyone. Give him time, and he's going to be special alongside Castle in the backcourt of the future. Meanwhile, Oklahoma City got 33 from SGA in his 4th straight 30-point game, 17 from Jalen Williams, and almost nothing from anyone else. Chet Holmgren was held to just 7 points on 3 of 10 shooting. The Thunder looked frustrated, passive, and unable to match San Antonio's physicality. The Spurs aren't just winning, they're building something sustainable. This isn't about one star carrying the load. It's about 5-man basketball, elite coaching adjustments, and a culture that prioritizes development over immediate results. Would you rather the Spurs keep developing this young core organically, or accelerate the timeline with a blockbuster trade? Drop patient or all in below. Let's talk about what Tuesday night revealed. The Spurs are mastering something most young teams take years to figure out. What makes this Spurs team special? 1. Defensive identity that travels. This isn't just home court intensity. The Spurs' defensive rating over their 7-game win streak is elite. They're holding opponents under 110 points per game and forcing turnovers at one of the highest rates in the league. That's sustainable playoff basketball. 2. Depth. That actually matters. Most teams talk about depth. The Spurs actually use it. Their bench outscored Oklahoma City's bench 40-26. When your 6th man, Keldon, drops 25 and your sophomore guard, Castle, is closing games like a 5-year vet, you've got something real. 3. The Harrison Barnes effect. People sleep on how important veteran leadership is. Barnes isn't just hitting threes, though that 20-point night was clutch. He's teaching Castle how to use his body on defense, showing Harper how to read NBA pick and rolls, and giving Keldon the blueprint for aging gracefully in this league. That's invaluable. 4. Victor Wembanyama's smart return. Coming off the bench isn't a demotion, it's load management done right. Wemby's 23 minutes gave him rhythm without overworking his recovery. The 101-game block streak ending? That's not a concern. That's the Spurs prioritizing championships over individual records. What's still evolving? The 3-point shooting can still be streaky. De'Aaron Fox is still working his way back from finger surgery. And yes, maintaining this intensity on the road in hostile environments, like Christmas Day in OKC, will be the ultimate test. But here's the reality. The Spurs aren't just exceeding expectations, they're redefining their ceiling every night. Keldon said it best. We had games this year where we had big leads and we let them slip. To see that little step tonight is huge for us. That's maturity, that's growth. That's a team that's learning how to close. What do you think separates the Spurs from other young contenders? Comment culture, coaching, or depth below. So here's what makes this Christmas Day matchup must-watch television. The Spurs head to Oklahoma City with the NBA's longest active winning streak at 7 games. They're not just hot, they're playing with the kind of confidence that usually takes years to develop. They've beaten the defending champions twice in 10 days. They've proven their depth. They've shown they can dominate on both ends. But here's the reality check. Oklahoma City will have 48 hours to stew on this 20-point beatdown. Their home crowd will be electric. And you better believe Mark Daigneault is going to have his team locked in like never before. This is the kind of game that either validates everything the Spurs have built or exposes areas they still need to grow. The X factors? De'Aaron Fox's return trajectory after finger surgery, Victor Wembanyama's minutes and whether he'll start or continue coming off the bench, and Dylan Harper's ability to replicate his defensive impact in a road playoff atmosphere. What makes this Spurs run so special isn't just the wins, it's how they're winning. Balanced scoring, defensive intensity, veteran leadership blending with youthful energy, championship habits forming in real time. This isn't just about making the playoffs anymore. The Spurs are announcing themselves as legitimate Western Conference threats. And if they can prove it again on Christmas Day in one of the toughest road environments in the NBA, the league better start taking San Antonio seriously. Because this team isn't just coming, they're already here. If this breakdown gave you something new to think about, smash that like button and share it with a Spurs fan who needs to see what Keldon just did to the defending champs. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss what happens Christmas Day. Because if the Thunder come back with revenge on their mind, we're in for one of the best games of the NBA season. Until next time, stay silver and black, stay sharp. Peace.